Hi, everybody, and good afternoon, good evening, good morning to you all, and thanks for joining us. This is our live weekly celebration call. We call it Accelebration because it's about really two things. One, accelerating our conscious journey, and of course, the humanities team, all of our friends all over the world are on this conscious journey. We've made that U-turn from unconscious living to conscious living where it's purposeful and full of prosperity, many different forms. We'll talk about that here during the hour. And also, we're celebrating. It's Friday afternoon. We bring our homemade kombucha, other favorite beverage to these programs, and just have a blast for an hour. Thank you for joining us. Got a fantastic program in store. I'm going to introduce you to our special guest here shortly. So now, I want to shout out to all of our Humanities Stream members. Thank you for joining us. Great to have you with us. We'll talk a little bit about Humanities Stream during the hour. Want to shout out to all of the people on humanities.team. Thank you for being here with us. And then all of our friends out on Facebook, thank you for joining us here on this Friday afternoon. Yeehaw! Hooray! It's gorgeous weather. We're broadcasting live from Boulder, Colorado. It is gorgeous here. It's a winter wonderland. Lots of snow outside, blue sky, beautiful, and a total pleasure to be here with you. Now, I want to invite you to place questions and comments in the window. So if you're in any of these areas that we're broadcasting to, if you've got comments or questions that you want to share, put them in the window. We'll get to as many as that we can during the hour. Now, a little about Humanities Team as we get started. Humanities Team is a global nonprofit organization, which is to say we have no shareholders. There's no Brinks truck that is pulling up here on this organization. We don't have any revenue targets, no profit targets, no margin targets. Our entire focus are three things. One, supporting people on their conscious journey. Two, creating planetary awakening during this generation. And three, manifesting flourishing in all parts of our life. And those three things actually go together. A conscious journey is about awakening ourselves, awakening the world to unity consciousness, to oneness. And of course, when we acquire the skills to live in unity consciousness and in oneness, then we're living and flourishing in our own life, in our home, our community, in our country, and in the world. So that's what Humanities Team is all about, and all of us are incredibly passionate and devoted to that mission. I'll introduce you to, or if I can't bring them on camera, at least shout out to all of the people in Humanities Team that are actually supporting this program, making this live broadcast possible. Now, I'd like to introduce you to our special guest here today, and it's Reverend Robert Brzezinski, who's well known in our Humanities Team community for a good while. There he is. Robert, thanks for joining us. There's Reverend Robert. And he is the spiritual director for the New Thought Media Network. And it's great to have you with us, Robert. And thank you for just your years of service here, your partnership in Humanities Team. We've been looking forward to having you with us on this program.
Thank you. Thank you, Steve. It's great being with you and with everybody here on Humanities Team. You just said that years, and I hadn't quite realized that. You're right. I think it was 2018, in the early part of 2018 was the first time I sat in to offer a prayer in the community prayer at the end of the month. And here we are. It's still going and evolving and growing. And again, it's great to be with you here today.
Yeah, fantastic. Well, you've certainly been very helpful in creating this larger community and bringing this power of prayer to people in Humanities Team all over the world. And thank you for that. And we were just talking before the program. Reverend Robert was sharing that the big New Thought church that's here in the Denver Boulder area is called Mile High, and it's where Reverend Robert was schooled as he was going through his ministry, and now he leads this New Thought media network that broadcasts all over the world. But we're blessed to have Mile High right here near us. Reverend Roger Teal leads that church
Yes.
and or spiritual ministry, and it's fantastic, isn't it, Robert?
It is. And Dr. Rogers said it many, many times, and we still today continue to say it: once a mile higher, always a mile higher. And while I don't have a direct connection to their ministry at this point, one of the other things Mile High does really well is train ministers to go out in the world and do great work, and do great work in different ways and in different avenues. And I've always felt that's part of what my ministry is about, is finding a different path than a traditional church or center, if you will. So, but we're going to talk a little bit about that later, I believe. Up front here, we're talking about prayer, right?
Yes, yes. Let's. So this authentic spiritual path where there is a power to prayer. Let's come in there because I know it's your passion. We've been broadcasting with you, as you mentioned, all the way back to 2018. There is a real power to prayer. Do you want to just share a little bit about this authentic spiritual path and the power of prayer?
Absolutely. I've the thing I say day to day is prayer is not a begging and a beseeching. And far too many of us, and I include myself in that, were brought up that prayer was this thing of, oh, please, please, please help me. And I never quite, that never quite made it with me. There's too much of a sense of competition in there. And my whole life has been about how do we collaborate? How do we work together? And while I admittedly didn't really start my spiritual journey specifically until 2001 or so, prior to that, there was always a sense that there was something greater. And what I learned was prayer is a way to communicate with whatever that greater is for you, for me, for whoever. So, however we choose to define the Almighty, the one source, God, Buddha, Brahma, Yahweh, Vishnu, Kuan Yin, whatever name you want to use, whatever label you want to use, prayer is that authentic communication, that authentic connection and dialogue, if you will. And so, in an affirmative prayer, in connecting prayer to our daily lives, it becomes part of my consistent practice. And it's really an affirmation of truth as I know it, an affirmation of truth as I believe it, and often a revelation of truth in the actual experience of it. And oftentimes, again, things come up that had no idea they were there, didn't plan to say them, and a revelation happens in the midst of a powerful spiritual mind treatment, a powerful affirmative prayer. So I love doing them every month. And I will say, here on Humanities Team, it's very rare that I'm asked to pray for an extended period of time and for so many prayer requests at the same time. And often in our monthly broadcasts, we don't have time to get to all of the prayers, quote specifically, but we do know that once a prayer has been prayed, once a prayer has been requested, once we've sent this vibration of desire of the good we wish to experience into the world, then it doesn't have to be spoken. The vibration and the energy of releasing that by the person doing the request is actually enough to make a demonstration. I just get to be the amplifier that kind of ramps it up a little bit and puts a little jazz behind it, puts a little more energy behind it sometimes. So it's fun to be here.
Yes, you do, and you do a beautiful job with that, Robert. And thank you for taking us through that journey about prayer, because, as you mentioned, most of us were brought up with with a very different understanding of prayer. I grew up in the Catholic Church myself, and it was all about
Yeah.
lack, really, of, oh gosh, all of these things have gone wrong. these challenges are all before me. Can you please help me, God? Is kind of how it worked. And
Right.
and what we come to understand on this conscious journey is, oh my gosh, there actually is no separation. First of all, we don't need to pray up into the clouds, though she's there too, but she's right there
Yep.
within. And as we develop that relationship with the one, with the divine, with love, whatever we want to call her, then we can actually feel her presence and understand she's right here within each of us and all of us, and then there are all kinds of things, just honest conversation, confirming prayer, where we're confirming what we know to be true because we're actually an emanation of that one. It's just such a different world. I mean, we cross the alphabet from from, oh my God, I'm lacking all these things and these challenges are before me, to thank you, thank you for the gift of life and love and prosperity in its many forms that you're bringing me in my work. Isn't that true?
Oh, absolutely. And we that is a huge part of all of this, is taking those energies that say there is lack, taking those beliefs that say there is something broken, and changing my own mind so others' minds may be changed as well, that says that's not really the truth of the matter. That's not really what's going on. The truth of the matter is that this oneness, this allness, is everything. And so there can be no lack. There can be really no limitation. The only real limitation in the world, if you will, is our own belief system. And if I can change that, then I can change my experiences. And so it's exactly what we do. We take those old limiting beliefs in, we kind of wrestle with them for a minute, and then send out the truth and say, hey, that's not really the power I want operating in my life right now. I don't really want the idea of separation and lack and limitation and suffering in my life. I'd rather experience the abundance and the prosperity, the love, the light, the joy, the beauty that is God. And as we affirm that, we start to create that energetic vibration that, by the laws of the universe, have to attract back into our lives a direct analog of what it is we believe we're putting out into our lives. Gets a little
Amen.
circular sometimes, but
Yes, beautiful. And if it sounds new age, it's not. It's this is as old as
ancient wisdoms.
it's ancient, actually.
Yes.
And of course, the beautiful thing is we feel the fruit of this every day as we're living this on our conscious journey. So, well, now we're going to go into a direct application of this, because we're going to bring on Nanette Kennedy, who's one of our partners in Humanities team. And she reaches out each month to our community to invite things that we want to bring into prayer. And she's going to share some of the things that we're going to bring into this connective prayer then that Reverend Robert is going to lead us in here shortly. So, Nanette, let's bring you on. Welcome to the program.
Hi, thank you.
And Nanette, do you want to? I know you've been gathering input from people in the community. Do you want to share?
Sure. And I was just going to repeat a little something Reverend Robert, as he always says, there are many prayers that we don't get to, but once the request has been made, he prays for those people, because I send him those requests that we don't have a chance to get to. But we had so many this time, I grouped them in the by similarity. And I know, Reverend Robert, your heart goes out to all those who are asking for prayers, as does mine. Anyway, let's just get going. And let's begin with Omar and Sue, who are both praying for free will, freedom, sovereignty from within, and for the love and acceptance of the self.
Absolutely. And folks, if you're in a safe place, if you're in a comfortable place and it's safe to close your eyes, I invite you to do so and join me in consciousness. For it is the collective consciousness of each one here that says yes to these words that is shifting the consciousness of humanity, that is shifting the overall experience of life. And what I know is I know there is only one life, one source, one supply, one infinite wellspring of love and light and beauty, truth and health and wealth and well-being and abundance, prosperity, sovereignty, freedom, free will, the divine blueprint of absolute perfect health, the divine blueprint of absolute mental health, the divine blueprint of life on planet Earth. It is all one. Call that God, call it Buddha or Brahma or Yahweh or Vishnu, whatever name, whatever image, whatever icon, be in this place right now. Join me in knowing that that oneness pours itself into creation, as human life, as all life. The furry creatures, the creepy crawly creatures, the scaly creatures and winged creatures. Today, really, we come to this place of knowing the humanness of life, and we know the transformation of humanness into the divine, and the divine into the humanness, and the sense that it is all happening here and now. Whatever it is, the oneness of God's life reveals itself perfectly through and as every life. No one left behind, no one absent, no one tardy. Everyone exactly in the right place at the right time, bringing forth a new experience of humanity's life of human life on planet Earth. So I speak the word for Omar and Sue. I speak the word again and again today for so many, saying the names over and over, knowing in consciousness that there is a vibration being increased here, a vibration being released here of freedom and sovereignty, of truth and love and acceptance of the all, that lifts these dear souls up so they may experience the grandeur, the greatness of their lives. I know this is happening in so many ways this day, and we're here to affirm this truth again and again in amazing ways. So I'm grateful for this request and for the next and the next. And as we turn back to our dear friend Nanette for the next piece of the puzzle, for the next piece of the experience, for now, we rest in the knowingness that it's all happening. So we trust in that. And again, we turn back to our friend Nanette.
Thank you, Reverend Robert. Straight from the heart, as usual. Our next group includes Godfrey, Mabugwa, Rosie, Marion, C, Pawan, Martina, Harjit, Gokul, Benjamin, Deb Samita, and Patricia Ann. They are all asking for prayers regarding financial security, jobs specifically, lent money to be returned, economic relief, oneness in family businesses, and for bullying in the workplace to cease.
So I am in that place of hearing the poetry, hearing the beauty, of recognizing the beauty in each name that is being called, that is calling out for this experience, for this prayer, for this portion of our knowingness, for this time of raising up our consciousness. Each name brings an image that I know has maybe no connection, and yet each name brings forth an image of love, an image of the divine, an image of God. See, what I know is I know I need not know exactly who says what and who makes what request, but it is the vibration of the request that has been released that I have been able to touch into, that we each are able to touch into. And so here today, I collectively invite each one that hears these words to raise up that vibration and to recognize with me absolute prosperity, absolute financial abundance and security, absolute divine right flow of finances and money, of investments and assurances, of loans and paying and payments and all of it. Each one that hears these words, raising up a vibration of absolute prosperity, knowing that we cannot outgive God, that there are no limits to the amount of good we may experience individually, as a group, as a collective, as a community. And so that each one is awash in the financial abundance that is God's life. Each one, I claim a deep sense of knowing that everything, the right measure of finances, is on its way right now, that what's necessary for the next step forward in our lives, what's necessary for the next evolution in our lives, all that is raising up and presenting itself to each one exactly as necessary, exactly according to our beliefs. And so if we believe that this cannot work, then the truth is it will not work. And then by will not working, it'll prove to us that it is working. So we might as well bet, we might as well take the side, we might as well take the gamble and the risk and say, I believe this. I believe there is an unlimited abundance of financial good on this planet, and that each one may tap into and accept and embody and embrace an unlimited supply of that good. Whatever good that may come in. Dollars, coins, investments, opportunities, new work, new adventures, new experiences of oneness. I am thrilled to claim for each that may hear, for each that may agree, the sacred yes of financial prosperity. And so I invite you each to join in that yes, here in your own mind, in your own way. Join in that yes and say, I am prosperity in action. And all is well. And all is good. And so it is. Oh, what we got next in that?
Thank you.
Feeling it today.
Yeah, you are. Beautiful. So many people are in need of family situations, destructive behavior of family members, reconciliation in relationships, divorce, trauma, emotional healing, and Mr. Zena, Martina, and Marianne have offered their concerns for these subjects.
Absolutely. And so I too say these names, Mr. Zena, Martina, Marianne, and each one that may not be named in this prayer, but is named in the mind of one, for each one that may in any way resonate with this prayer, with these words, with anyone that may resonate with this request, to recognize that there is a divine relationship within the one. That if we are truly all one thing happening here, and that's what we believe in this oneness, in this all experience, that in that there can be no mistakes, there can be no missteps. There are divine connections, and the divine connections sometimes seem a little strange or a little out of the ordinary, or we in our humanness question those connections. But what I know and what I claim for each one listening is a sense of knowing that the divine makes no mistakes. And so every relationship, every connection is absolutely divinely ordained. Every releasing of a connection, letting go of a connection, is divinely ordained. That each one on this planet, we cannot make mistakes. We are forever stepping forward and intentionally stepping forward to create a life in a world that works for everyone. And that means we start by creating a life in a world that works for us. And if there's something going on in our lives that doesn't seem to be working, then when we just let that go, we release that back into the nothingness from whence it came. And we accept that there is always more good right around the next breath, right around the next corner, as close as that very next heartbeat. There is new good, more good, something different, something magnificent, calling each to their greatness. As we let go of that which no longer serves, as we let go of the things that no longer bring joy or no longer spark creativity, those things that no longer propel us forward in life, then as we let go of all of that, then there is a great emotional healing. healing of the discord, healing of the sense of suffering, healing in the need of or belief and lack or doubt or all of that. We have this great emotional healing as we come to realize the oneness of our lives, as we come to affirm the truth and the oneness of our lives, that everything's working just as it must. Sometimes I don't see it, sometimes it's a little tough to tell, but ultimately it is all working, all happening exactly as it must, raising each one to their greatness, raising each one to their absolute magnificence, and a deep sense of knowing that no matter what, it's all God. And if it's all God, then it's all good. And truly, it could be no other way. With an open heart, I turn back to our requests to our dear Nanette for our next group.
Thank you. Leslie, Fran, Marianne, Henry, Charmaine, Marie, Manuela, Ludvina, Susan, Patricia Ann, Gabrielle, Vahije, Fidelia, all are praying for the healing of themselves and their family members or friends who are suffering from things like the coronavirus, cancer illnesses, surgeries, organ transplants, seizures, dementia, and the fear that surrounds these issues.
And so I slip into the true stillness. For this is the very center of the power of prayer, the power to change the physical conditions of our lives, to enact and embody and embrace and enact that great healing. And so as I have this list of names before me, I feel those vibrations, those desires to know wholeness, to know the oneness, to know the perfect body, to know the perfect body temple operating. And so I claim for each a deep sense of that recognition that no matter what the human condition might be, there is something more miraculous, more amazing, more powerful than the human condition that is operating to bring each one, each soul, each one into a divine sense of wholeness, a divine sense of connection, of oneness with the divine. We all know that the body temple is but a temporary solution to a spiritual experience beyond measure. And so I claim for each a deep knowing that the soul must be eternal. And we are forever and ever evolving as a human consciousness, as a soul consciousness, evolving into the next great experiences of life, the next great dimensions of life and livingness. And so what I know is I know wherever there is a desire to feel more health, to feel a healing of the physical temple, of the experiences of the body, there is a corresponding sense of excitement and elation and a newness that is being born. It is through the physical that most often the transformative is mandatory. A heartache leads to a complete change of life, a complete overhaul of perspective. So what I know is I know there's a direct avenue to absolute healing. It is available to each and every one. It is the blueprint of the perfect human body temple. That blueprint by which we each may create the sense, the experience of healing within our bodies, within our lives. On all levels, in all ways, in amazing ways, the experience of saying yes to this divine healing. And that is what I claim for each one on this list today. And those whose names did not appear, or just right now saying yes to saying each prayer and saying yes to making a request for a prayer, that all may feel a sense of healing. All may know the consciousness of oneness, and that they may recognize the absolute perfection of their journey right here, right now, no matter what it is. We are divine emanations of the One, whole, complete, and perfect in our magnificence. And each one is here to give of their greatness, to share their magnificence. And so I know that in ways perhaps unimaginable and perhaps ways unseen, each individual, each life represented here, and so many more are in that process of healing. And I affirm that that healing shall occur. A great and glorious healing is upon us right now. Right now. I let it be so. I get out of the way. I let God do its work. And I know it is so. And I affirm its truth. And open to the next request.
Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. Next, we have Leslie, Jamin, Jasmine, and David. And they would really appreciate prayers for depression, mental health issues, and for mental healing for themselves and those very close to them, as in family members and friends.
And so I continue in this vein of absolute healing, saying yes, yes to the requests by Leslie and Jamin, Jasmine and David, knowing that as each request is lifted up, is even thought of, as before their fingers even hit the keyboards to type the request, there was an affirmation in the mind of God. There was an absolute yes in the mind of God. And it is that absolute yes that exists in the mind of God, the absolute yes to the mental healing, an absolute yes to a letting go of anything that looks like depression or mental illness, or letting go of any of those old limiting beliefs, and saying yes to the absolute oneness of life, the absolute healing and the absolute health of everyone on this planet. So I stand right here in this chair, energetically, I am one with the allness and the isness that is God's light, saying yes to Jamin and Jasmine and David, to each one that lends their ear, lends their heart to this prayer of healing for the mental, the emotional, in each way, together, each heartbeat raising up the vibration of yes, of love, of light, of healing and health and wealth and wholeness and wellness. As we collectively raise up that vibration, there is nowhere that vibration is not felt. That vibration encompasses the earth again and again and again. We raise that up and say yes on behalf of ourselves, on behalf of those asking the request, and those that don't even know this is happening. Together, we are one. Deeply, we are one. And this one collective prayer that is raising itself up right now, say yes to that with me. Say yes. And together we enact that mental healing for all of humanity. And so it is, yes.
Thank
Annette,
you.
we have more.
Yeah, we have one more. And it's our last request that comes from Ariana and for Luca and for a couple of people who wish to remain nameless, would like to pray for all of those who are in prison, family members and neighbors, whomever. They would like prayers for those people in prison.
Absolutely. And so knowing that there are no limits to where this vibration may travel, no limits to how this prayer may raise up those in desire, those that are requesting. We raise up Ariana and Luca right now, and those that wish to remain unnamed, and know and claim for each a sense of peace and a sense of freedom. And we raise up the freedom right now. We raise up that vibration of knowing that although there may be those that are what appear to be behind bars, at the level of the soul, in their soul they are free. For at the soul there is nothing that can bar us. There is nothing that can cage us. And while their human experience may include this sense of incarceration, I claim for each a deep sense of knowing that there is a freedom within, that there is a freedom within that nothing can cage. For it is the oneness that will forever seek ways of expressing itself, forever seek ways of being received, of being heard, of calling the divine unto and into the lives of so many. And I personally know of countless ministries supporting those incarcerated to come to a new understanding of the power of their own word, the power of their own ability to release themselves from the oppression, to release themselves from the self-accusation, to release themselves from the prison they have found themselves, they have placed themselves into. So what I know is I know that the freedom we each seek is freedom of the mind, a freedom to feel the sense of freedom, to feel that sense of connection with the one, to feel the unlimitedness, the absolute power and abundance and prosperity, the unlimited nature of God's life. For that is our very nature. And where anyone is held imprisoned, there is that desire, there is that vibration for freedom, for right action, for a deep sense of reformation, reforming our lives into a life of service, into a life of caring, into a life of good that is the good of God's life revealing itself. So I know the good work is being done here. I know this prayer is piercing through any wall and raising up the consciousness of humanity, the vibration of humanity. And as we bring this experience of prayer to a close, I am reminded. I'm reminded of the divinity of each one that hears these words, each one that in any way connects and tunes into this mighty, mighty organization. For we are all on humanity's team, each one. In our own ways, in our own form, each one lending a voice or lending a dollar, attending a class or a workshop, just being present to a prayer call, saying yes and sharing with a friend. We each are the hands and the heart of the divine. And therefore, we are each the hands and the heart that is evolving humanity's life into the next and the next and the next and the next, collectively working together as one. For deeply we are one. And so for all the prayers that have been left unsaid, for all the prayers that may not have been requested, but have been thought, have been uttered in the stillness of the soul, in the stillness of a dark night, in the stillness of any emotion, a prayer for love, a prayer for abundance, a prayer for good, a prayer for growth and evolution must be answered. And that is what we are about this day. Saying yes to the evolution of humanity, saying yes to a vision of a world that works for all, saying yes to God. So I am grateful, filled with a sense of gratitude for the truth that has revealed itself here this day, for the opportunity to be this vessel, this conduit through which God reveals this truth. Most especially grateful to know God's on the job here, folks. God's already got this. This is a done deal in the mind of God. And so all the words that have been spoken, all the sacred yeses, all the vibrations of positivity and growth and all that as it is right now being released into the law, the universal law that must demonstrate, that must manifest and could not return void. This word cannot return void. It must be fulfilled. And so I give it up to God. I release this word into the law that must demonstrate and witness the miracle and call it good. And if any of this has resonated in any way, please join me in an affirmation of truth as we say together. And so it is.
It is. Thank you, Reverend Robert. It's always a pleasure to be with you for these, and you're so inspiring. But now I think I'll turn it back over to Steve.
Yes, huge thank you, Reverend Robert and Annette. That was beautiful. In fact, let's just take a couple of deep breaths here as we come back into this program. Just breathing in that the beautiful prayer that Reverend Robert shared here in response to so many people in our community that wrote in asking that we pray with them. That was truly beautiful, very powerful. Prayer always actually is very powerful. And you certainly shared, Reverend Robert, why that's the case. So thank you so much for that. And Annette Kennedy, thank you as well. Reverend Robert, let's talk a little bit about this mission of yours now, this New Thought Media Network. And as you know, we're now going to be streaming your weekly programs into humanities.team. And some of you that are watching are in the humanities.team virtual community. It's like Facebook, except that everybody's on a conscious journey. So no polarity, no shouting, no upsettedness. Just people sharing their inspirations and prayers and pictures of family and friends and of themselves and so on. And shout out again to all of you in the humanities.team community. So, Robert, can you share a little bit about these broadcasts that we're real pleased to be picking up?
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you, Steve. And real quick, thank you, Nanette, for being with us this week. It's always great when we get to connect and see you and see each other. So thank you for being that part of the experience. Steve, New Thought Media Network really is the outpouring of a lot of visioning and a lot of prayer and a lot of spiritual practice over a lot of years. And little pieces of this have come together over time. But really, this is one of those places to be grateful, as weird as it sounds, to be grateful for a pandemic. And I was thrown into a situation that was like, okay, here we go. Spirit's got something different and bigger for you. So let's figure out how this works. And we started, we'd actually been running a radio station, and we still do, New Thought Radio. And video is just pulled and pulled. And it started with a couple of prayer calls on Facebook, and that quickly blossomed to a couple of talk shows, and that quickly blossomed to a few concerts and a couple more ideas. And throughout the last year, when so many people were looking for spiritual inspiration, I think we've been able to create a different model of virtual spiritual community. Currently, we're at about 14 or 15 hours of live broadcast per week. Our goal for the year is 45 hours or more per week. And we're incredibly excited to be bringing right now 3 of our programs to humanities.team. And I want to agree with, I love hanging out there because it's peaceful. There's nice people. They share nice stuff. Nobody's throwing around all kinds of accusations. It's a great community, and there's a lot of room there to grow, and for more of humanity's team to come on board and say, hey, here's a place where we can hang out and connect and share positive music, positive media, positive entertainment. That's what New Thought Media Network's all about. And again, we're really excited to be collaborating and co-creating and partnering with you and humanities team in this. It's a divine experiment. I think it's a divine revelation too.
I agree with you. It's a beautiful partnership. We really appreciate you bringing your programming in, and you mentioned COVID, and isn't it true there is this silver lining? It's hard to imagine because there's so many challenges and so many people have transitioned all over the world that I believe gave up their soul in this lifetime. They transitioned to the non-physical realm to just support this movement, which is a conscious movement. It's this whole conscious journey that we're talking about. This new way of praying, but actually a new way of living, where we understand that we are an emanation of the one, which means that we're eternal beings as well, going back and forth from the absolute realm or heavenly realm to this embodied realm, that and that our capacities are unlimited, that our potential and capacities are unlimited. And your prayers, of course, bring that out, just where we get out of the way and just let the divine express so fully and beautifully through us, and then live a purposeful life. And of course, we also live a life of prosperity, and prosperity in the ways that we think of in the Western world, where a boomerang effect actually brings the financial prosperity around, but prosperity actually in so many other forms, namely where we feel this loving relationship with ourselves and with others, with the divine, with the one, with God. So thank you. Thank you for this great work that you're doing, for the partnership. We greatly appreciate it. Let me now share. This program is going to go into this subscription service that we've recently created in Humanities team called Humanity Stream. And so I want to tell you a little bit about Humanity Stream. You can find this program and all of our weekly Accelebration programs on Humanity Stream. Here we can actually see the screen here. So this is a groundbreaking new subscription service. It's only come to the global marketplace in the last month. As you can see, there's this beautiful graphical interface. We'll scroll it here in a moment, and you'll see it's not only graphical, but it's also an intuitive interface. Here you can see the live events. Next, you can see all of our most popular master classes that are part of this subscription service. Then next, all of these other conscious programs that are part of the subscription service. So there are our most popular master classes. There are over 350 hours of other conscious programming that are included. There are all of these free live programs that are included. If we kind of scrolled fairly quickly through the live events, actually what you're looking at here now is where you can click on any of those programs, the master classes or any of the other conscious programs, and it'll just show you all of what the content is there in the master class or in the other programs. So it's not only graphical, it's intuitive. Most of the industry uses something called LearnDash, which is a fairly technical product. A lot of people have trouble kind of getting from one place in the hub to another place, and then you end up making lots of phone calls to say, where you're futzing around. How do I get from, I want to get into this other module, I want to get my completion certificate, something like this. In Humanity Stream, it's all point and click. There's the program, you click on it, takes you right down into the other video elements in the program. When you finish a program, you can just print out your completion certificate. Those are free. Over 450 hours of programming are in Humanity Stream now, and every week we're adding new content to Humanity Stream that's free, and every quarter new master classes to Humanity Stream that are free. And as I mentioned, the free completion certificates, all of those live events. We scrolled it fairly quickly, but we do live mentoring. So for example, today, Deborah Poneman was doing live mentoring for all of the Humanity Stream folks. She'll do that again next week, and then shortly thereafter, Christy Whitman, who's terrific as one of the conscious leaders in this transformational education community. She'll be coming in, and then for 2 Fridays in a row doing free mentoring. The virtual communities that we've been talking about, humanities.team, the Facebook communities, there are private Facebook communities for each of the master classes. There are other live events. The Global Oneness Summit is broadcast through Humanity Stream, and the upgrades that cost about $100 are free for Humanity Stream members. When we do special events like our Spiritual Leadership Award, and this year we're giving our Spiritual Leadership Award. I think it's on September 15th to Greg Braden. The Humanities Stream members are invited in early with all of the Humanities team partners to just have a live and private conversation this year with Greg Braden. So lots and lots of things here that are included. It's a groundbreaking platform. It's graphical, it's intuitive. The pricing also is down below anything in the transformational education industry. It's $39.99 a month. That's billed annually. That totals to about $480 a year for all of this programming, including this new programming that's coming in. So the pricing is also groundbreaking. Now, the reason we can offer you something like this is because we're a nonprofit. We don't have any shareholders. We don't have revenue targets and profit targets. We're not trying to go public or be bought or anything. We're here for one reason only, to support people on their conscious journey. So we're going to bring as much content as we can to people all over the world. Where this is going on Roku, on Apple TV, on Google Pay, so you'll be able to access Humanities Stream from your TV, from your phone, from your PC, from anywhere, anytime. There even in the master classes are these audio programs that you can download, so you can listen to the programming on your favorite chair in your house or outside or in your car or when you're flying somewhere. So you can access this conscious content anywhere, anytime, all over the world on almost any platform. So it's groundbreaking. And there's a 7-day free trial. So when you go to Humanities Stream, that's not, so this is, our name is Humanities Team. This subscription service is called Humanities Stream. So if you go to humanity with a Y, stream.tv, that's humanitystream.tv, you'll see the program. You can scroll it, see all of what's in the program. As I mentioned, you can point and click to kind of see what all of this different content is, what all of these events are. And it's a 7-day free trial, so there's no exposure or risk on your part where you sign up. Moreover, after the 7-day free trial, there's another week in the guarantee period. So you have 2 weeks to explore this subscription service and all of what it can offer, not only you, but your family. It's amazing. It's groundbreaking, and there's no risk for 2 weeks when you sign up for Humanities Stream. So again, that's humanitystream.tv, and we couldn't be more excited about it. It's our strategy, as I mentioned at the beginning of this program, is within this generation. So, which is to say, then within our lifetime, that this planetary awakening thing happens, that it fully manifests, that we can, all of us on this conscious journey can experience the fruit of it in all parts of our lives. That's a pretty bold vision, a pretty bold plan. It's on our website, front and center. How are we going to do that? And we see Humanities Stream as the key program that we're offering, that it can be accessed anywhere in the world, from any country, any region of the world, any hour of the day, on any platform. So this is the way that we intend to deliver on our vision, on our plan, by providing this groundbreaking platform at this groundbreaking price with a 7-day free trial and an additional 7-day guarantee. So that people can access this this conscious content anytime, anywhere. As the Integral, our friends at Integral share, awakening to unity consciousness or oneness, or awakening on our conscious journey is actually just the beginning step. The next step, which is substantial and it's actually a lifelong process, is to acquire the skills so that we live consciously, fully. So these kinds of things that Reverend Robert was sharing earlier as these prayers were read, where he's affirming or you could say confirming the truth of how ultimate reality works, of what our life invitation is, to live in the fullness of this divine expression. That takes some time and some work. And most of us will stretch into the fullness of that over the course of a lifetime. So the awakening part is easy. The acquiring skills where we can fully embody and express our conscious journey, our divine expression, our divine, some would say our divine genius, that is a lifetime of work. And candidly, we've put everything into Humanity's Stream that we can think of and that we know of to support people in that endeavor. This endeavor of acquiring the skills to live fully, consciously in this world. So, and it's not a static thing. I'd say we've put everything in there that we can think of and know of. We're actually adding things like Reverend Robert's 3 weekly broadcasts that are coming into humanities.team, our virtual community each week. These programs that we're doing, such as this live program and our live programming every Friday, is coming into Humanity's Stream. The mentoring programs, I mentioned Deborah Poneman's program today, and then again on Friday next week, and then Christy Whitman's 2 mentoring programs after that. Those are all placed in Humanity's Stream. And then these new master classes that we're developing every quarter, those are being placed in Humanity's Stream. So it's not something static at all. It's alive. Humanity's Stream is alive, and we're adding to it every single week. Now, I want to share who we're bringing to this broadcast here in coming weeks, because this is a live broadcast. We're now doing it every Friday. We're broadcasting live from our studio here in Boulder, Colorado. Next week, we're going to have Kenji Kimura with us, who is incredible. Many of you probably know Kenji. And then the following week, Master Ming Tong will be with us. These are our special guests. The week after, Dr. Bruce Lipton will be joining us. The following week, Greg Braden will join us. And then the week after that, Lynn McTaggart will be joining us. So we've got that just gets us started here. We'll be bringing guests to almost all of our Accelebration broadcasts each week. So be sure to join us. They start at 12 Pacific, 3 Eastern. I want to thank, again, Reverend Robert Brzezinski. Thank you so much for joining us. Nanette Kennedy, thank you. Thank you for being here, for coming on screen. Thanks so much. We are truly grateful. Robert, we are so grateful for your ministry, for your work, your partnership. Thank you, brother. Look forward to having you back and broadcasting your 3 programs that are live each week, 3 of them each week that are coming to humanities.team. So I want to also thank my partners that make this program possible. Noah, Tim Noah goes by Noah. I don't think we can bring him on camera here, but he's the man that pulled this whole thing. Here he goes. Yep, he's coming on camera. There we go. There's Noah. Brother, and Noah's going to make the most fabulous organic pizza here in just a couple hours with our fresh homemade kombucha. So how's that? Also want to thank Dee Meyer, Karen Gordon, Garth Catterall, again, Nanette Kennedy, Jim. I want to thank Jim, who's also holding down, I think, the Facebook side of this. So there's a whole team of partners within Humanity's team that are making this possible, make it easy. Reverend Robert and I, and Nanette, we just sit here and gab. So we're doing the easy work. The heavy lifting is being done by my partners. Thank you, guys. Thank you to each of you. And viewers, thanks for joining us. And we look forward to being with you next Friday, 12 Pacific, 3 Eastern. Join us and have a fabulous weekend. Namaste to all of you.